You won't believe what happened to me one ordinary afternoon while I was at work. I came home to find my front door completely locked out, changed locks. No warning, nothing. The HOA had done it. At first, I thought it was just a typical, we're enforcing rules kind of thing. But here's the twist. They had no idea I was the one who actually designed the entire security system for our neighborhood. Yeah, me. The same person who put in all the cameras, alarms, and even the smart locks they thought they could just swap out. What they didn't realize was that this wasn't going to be a simple lockout situation. I knew every inch of that system, every backdoor, every glitch. And I wasn't about to let them get away with shutting me out like that. As I stood there staring at the door, frustration and curiosity mixing, I started to wonder, why did they even do this? Was it just a misunderstanding or something bigger? And more importantly, how was I going to get back in without causing a scene? Trust me, this isn't just about locks. It's about control, power, and a secret I never thought I'd have to reveal. Stay with me, because what happened next? It's something no HOA could have ever expected. To give you some background, I've always been pretty involved in how security works around here. When the HOA first started talking about upgrading the neighborhood's safety, they brought me in because I have a tech background and a knack for this stuff. I spent weeks designing a system that was smart, secure, and easy for residents to use. Everything was connected: smart locks, motion sensors, cameras, basically a setup that was supposed to protect us all. So, when I found out they changed my locks without even telling me, it felt like a personal betrayal. The more I thought about it, the more questions popped up. Did they think I was somehow a problem? Or was there some kind of dispute I hadn't heard about? And why didn't anyone just talk to me before making such a drastic move? It was weird because, on paper, I'm part of the HOA's security team, but now I was locked out like an outsider. The situation felt off, like there was something more going on beneath the surface. I tried calling a few people, but no one was giving straight answers, and that's when I realized this might be bigger than just a simple lock change. Something about this whole thing didn't add up, and I had to figure it out before it spiraled out of control. But how do you fight an organization when they control the locks, the cameras, and now your access? As the hours passed, I couldn't shake the feeling that something else was happening behind the scenes. The HOA's move to change my locks didn't just seem like a random decision. It felt targeted. Maybe it was about control, or maybe someone didn't want me digging into the security system anymore. After all, if I designed it, I knew its weaknesses better than anyone else, and that made me a threat. I started asking around, talking to neighbors, trying to get a sense of what they thought was going on. Some were confused, others seemed nervous when I brought it up. A few hinted that there had been some tension between certain HOA board members and me lately. Nothing serious, just disagreements over how the security system should be managed. But could those disagreements really lead to something as extreme as changing locks without warning? Meanwhile, I couldn't access my own home, but I could still see the security cameras I installed working. Oddly enough, some of the cameras pointed right at my front door were offline. It was as if someone was trying to cover their tracks. That only made me more determined to find out what was really happening. Was this about me personally? Or was the HOA hiding something bigger, something that involved more than just a lock change? And then there was the issue of my neighbors. Some were starting to pick sides without even knowing the full story, while others were quietly watching, unsure who to trust. It felt like this wasn't just a personal fight anymore. It was turning into something that could affect the entire community, and the security system I built was right in the middle of it all. Days passed, and the tension only grew thicker. I was still locked out of my own home, stuck on the outside looking in through the security cameras I had built. Every time I checked, more strange things showed up. Doors that were supposed to be locked were unlocked. Sensors that should have been silent were suddenly going off. It felt like someone was testing the system, probing for weaknesses, and I had no way to stop it. The very thing I designed to protect us was now being used against me, or maybe against the whole neighborhood. I reached out to the HOA board again, trying to get answers, but all I got were vague responses and excuses. It felt like they were stonewalling me, hiding something deeper. The weirdest part: a few board members who used to be friendly suddenly acted distant, even cold. It was as if I had crossed an invisible line they didn't want me near. Was I being pushed out? Or worse, was this a power play to take control of the security system itself? Meanwhile, neighbors started coming forward with rumors, whispers about unauthorized access, missing packages, even unexplained trips by some board members late at night. The community I thought I was protecting was now divided and suspicious, and all the while, I was stuck on the sidelines, locked out and powerless. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I noticed something on the camera feed, a shadow moving near my door late at night, someone trying to manipulate the lock I thought only I could control. That's when I realized this wasn't just about me anymore. It was about who really controls the security of this entire neighborhood, and it was about to come to a head, one way or another. Just when I thought I was starting to piece things together, the situation took an unexpected turn. While reviewing hours of footage from the security cameras, trying to catch who had been messing with my door, I noticed something chilling. There was a second set of access codes being used, codes I never created or authorized. Someone inside the HOA had somehow hacked into the system I designed, giving themselves secret entry to any door, any time. It wasn't just about changing my locks anymore. This was about full control over the entire neighborhood's security. My heart sank. If someone could override the system, they could watch us all, lock us out, or worse, let in whoever they wanted. The community I built this system to protect was now vulnerable, and the people I trusted to manage it were hiding dangerous secrets. I started thinking back to the odd behavior of certain board members, the cold shoulders, the vague excuses, the late-night trips, and a terrifying possibility hit me. What if the HOA wasn't protecting us? What if some of them were using the security system for their own agenda? I reached out to a few trusted neighbors to warn them, but the fear was already spreading. People were changing their routines, installing their own locks, and some even talked about moving out. Meanwhile, the HOA kept denying everything, acting like nothing was wrong. But I knew better. I was locked out of my own home, with my own system compromised. The stakes had never been higher. Something had to give, and soon. After days of digging, frustration, and sleepless nights, I finally managed to get back inside my house. Thanks to a backup override I'd secretly built into the system just in case of emergencies. Walking through the door felt surreal. I wasn't just getting back my home. I was taking back control of the security system I'd poured my heart into. But as soon as I was inside, I knew this wasn't over. The unauthorized codes and strange activity weren't just glitches. They were deliberate. I confronted the HOA board at the next meeting, armed with evidence from the camera footage and system logs. The room went silent when I laid it all out: the secret access codes, the late-night tampering, the broken trust. A few board members tried to deny it, but the proof was undeniable. It turned out one of the trusted members had been using the system to spy on neighbors and manipulate property access for personal gain. The betrayal hit hard, but exposing it was a relief. The HOA had no choice but to revoke that member's access and promised to overhaul the security protocols. Just when I thought the nightmare was ending, there was one last shock. As I was running a final check on the system, I discovered an encrypted file buried deep in the network, something I hadn't created. It contained plans for an even bigger breach, with backups ready to activate if anyone tried to shut the system down. Someone had anticipated I might fight back and set a trap that could lock the entire neighborhood out indefinitely. The battle for control wasn't just over, it was only just beginning. Discovering that encrypted file was like finding a ticking time bomb hidden inside the system I created to protect everyone. I knew I couldn't just ignore it. So I spent the next few days carefully decrypting the file, trying to understand what this backup plan was and who had put it there. It turned out to be a failsafe designed to lock every door in the neighborhood remotely, cutting off access to anyone except whoever held the master code. Whoever created it wasn't just trying to control a few locks, they wanted total power of the whole community. With this new information, I called an emergency meeting with the HOA and the neighbors. I laid everything out, the secret access codes, the hidden backups, and the danger it posed to all of us. People were shocked but grateful to finally understand what had been happening behind the scenes. Together, we agreed on a full security system audit and a plan to replace the compromised elements with safer, more transparent technology. We also established stronger communication channels so no one would ever be locked out or left in the dark again. Looking back, this whole ordeal was a harsh reminder of how important trust and transparency are in any community, especially when it comes to something as critical as security. Technology can protect us, but it can also be used against us if the wrong people get control. The key takeaway: always stay involved, ask questions, and never assume someone else has your back just because they're in charge. Now, the neighborhood feels safer, and I'm back in the driver's seat, working with the HOA and neighbors to keep our community secure. The locks are back under the right control, but the experience left a mark. I learned that protecting a community isn't just about the tech, it's about people, trust, and staying vigilant. Thanks for sticking with me through this story. If you've ever dealt with HOA drama or security issues, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below.